Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome back to another video on this channel, Hardcore Spirituality. I'm your host, Johan. How is your heart today? Is your heart kind? How is your mind? Is your mind calm and clear? Let's talk about the title of this video. I don't hate people. I've simply outgrown them. Let's break it down. What do I mean by that when I say I don't hate people? I've simply outgrown them. Well, I'm going to use an analogy that you're probably not going to like. And I know, because people are finite in their thinking. In other words, when I use finite, identifying finite people, what I mean is there are people who are limited in their knowledge. They are limited in their thinking. You could say they don't think outside the box. So this analogy I'm going to use is probably something you won't like, and most likely these finite people with, limited thinking ability are going to say, well, he's saying spirituality, you graduate from it. Well, no, I'm not, but that's how finite people think. When I say I don't hate people, when I say I've simply outgrown them, I'm talking about spiritual maturity. I'm talking about transcendence. I'm talking about having a spiritual awakening. I'm talking about having a psychic change where the person that's had them exists and experiences above the normal level. In other words, we don't exist and experience life like normal people. We've gone to another level. So my analogy is about the educational system. K through 12. Kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, and so on. So you're in kindergarten at the end of the school year. An administrator comes to a conclusion. You've learned the prescribed education part of kindergarten. You've learned that. And you're able to move to the next level, which is first grade. At the end of first grade, an administrator decides, these rules are put down somewhere. You've received the knowledge for first grade that you should understand. And you're able to move to the next level, second grade. You go through second grade, you're taught these things. At the end of second grade, they come to a conclusion, okay, you're ready to move to the next level. Fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. Well, what happens if you fail? In other words, you don't pass the test, and the administrator concludes, well, you didn't learn. You're held back. You're held back until you do. Now, whether you agree with public education or not, that's not the point. I'm using this analogy to describe people on a spiritual path. And my experience is in the 12-step program, specifically AA. Now, you do not graduate from AA. You do not graduate after a specific time because you've learned this or that. So what's my point? What I've learned, my experience is spirituality means continuing to grow spiritually. How do we do that? For me, it's about getting information, knowledge, and wisdom. Mostly ancient information, knowledge, and wisdom. From masters, from teachers, gurus, teachers of various religions, taking their teachings, applying it to my life, and my quality of life improves. Because I've taken that wisdom, those teachings, that knowledge, and applied it to my life. Some people read a spiritual book and say they're spiritual. Some people read the big book in AA, get it memorized, and they think they're spiritual. I've learned it's about applying these principles, these teachings, this knowledge, this wisdom to your life. And you overcome adversity. You begin to intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle you based on these teachings, this wisdom, this knowledge that you applied to your life. And you keep moving to the next level. It never ends, folks. There was a guy in the 12-step AA program, this Emory guy, that said to me one time, I've had my spiritual awakening, so I know I'm good. I'm set. I have still, today, spiritual awakenings. You could call them epiphanies. You could call them aha moments. At a certain time in my life, on a certain day, connected to a certain experience, I don't do what I used to do. I apply something different. And the outcome is way more satisfying than what the old way of thinking was. Like I said, I learned to overcome adversity using this knowledge, this wisdom, these teachings. It's not much different than what it says in Step 10 in the 12 and 12 book. You know, when we are disturbed, there's something wrong with us. You have to quell that disturbance. No, you don't quell it by running to a meeting. You take knowledge, information, and teachings that pertain to that specific experience. You apply that knowledge, those teachings, and wisdom, and there's a different outcome. As it says in the 10th step, we look back and see what we could have done differently. Well, when you have a situation where you acted inappropriately or you said something inappropriately, Do you do what it says in step 10? You look at it, talk to your sponsor, actually, I believe it says. You come to a conclusion, do I owe this person an amends, is what it says. You make your amends, is what it says. And then you go and sit somewhere in silence and think about the situation and think about what you could have done differently. Do you do that? I don't hate people. I don't hate people. I've simply outgrown them. Because I still, to this day, after 20 plus years, take wisdom, knowledge, and teachings and apply it to my life. And I grow spiritually. I go to the next level. I transcend. I'm not existing where you're at. I'm not experiencing life the way you experience it. When I transcend, when you transcend, you exist and experience above the normal level. I don't live life on life's terms. I live life on spiritual terms. I take the spiritual teachings, that knowledge, that wisdom, and apply it to my life. I live on life's terms. I don't live on life's terms, excuse me. I don't live on life's terms. I live on spiritual terms. You know what living life on life's terms is? Eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Is that how you live today? So when I say I don't hate people, I've simply outgrown them. If I'm at this level now, and I know based on my experience, there's no end to the growth, the spiritual growth. Why would I stay and associate with people who are still at the kindergarten spiritual level? And I'm talking about people who have the same opportunity as me to grow, yet they refuse to because they're finite. They are limited in their knowledge. They are limited in their thinking, and they're happy that way.